Bada boom, bada bang.
And we're back with the No, I'm just kidding.
Facts.
Not my show.
And yeah, but we are back though. So look, you already know what it is, man. It's your man, SumOfMan. Today we got my lady here, Amani Jade. We also got my man's Noir King, my co-host, beautiful and brilliant as ever. We got my homegirl Nia Chris right here, also called Nia Spellfish. All right, hip hop historian. And you know, if y'all come to the show, y'all probably have seen Amani Jade before. Y'all probably heard Amani Jade in the chat. She's an MC. I'm an MC. Noir King is not an MC, but we'll go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of the show.
But he could be if he wanted to try.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. So today's show is going to be about what hip-hop thinks about women, and it's really actually about misogyny in hip-hop. But I was having technical difficulties at the beginning of the show trying to change the title to Misogyny in Hip-Hop, because for some reason Twitch does not allow the word misogyny in the titles of their videos.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
which is misogyny. Okay, Twitch is like, y'all can talk about misogyny, but you can't talk about talking about misogyny. Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, well,
that is crazy.
That is unfortunately, my friend, that is the cultural climate that we find ourselves in today. Cancel culture is real. Not to, hey man, look, not even to take away from this right quick, but I don't even know. Like, I just heard about this thing, and it's so wild to me. This Gabby person, and I'm saying that because, again, I don't know nothing about this case at all. I'm not speaking on it in any way.
Are you talking about the abusive white girl? Is that her?
I don't know. Again,
somebody that died is who you're talking about.
Yeah,
go ahead. Somebody died.
Yeah.
So.
And with that being said, I'm saying that because, like, Frank Somerville got canceled, and if y'all don't know who that is, he's an anchor on the Fox News. It just goes to show you, though, the double standard that is Fox News. They will run Donald Trump relentlessly when he was running, but the moment somebody say something off air and they own private Twitter, you're out. Like, you're out. Everybody at Fox is mad, and they are rightfully so to be mad.
Mm-hmm. Yo, you are breaking up Noir King.
He looks like Venom.
No, that's facts.
He looks like the guy behind him on the poster.
No, that's absolute facts. The face, the teeth.
It's the face.
You know what I'm saying?
And the glasses glare.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Yeah,
I saw something about. Oh, what does he say?
And young girls that get kidnapped in America of color every month, every day, right?
Yeah, especially
basically for the buddy system. We had the buddy system as kids because of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, like, man, I understand where he's coming from. Okay, so without condoning or condemning, I just want to get that out there because that's like really been on my chest, like hard, bro. Like, that double standard of media right there is ridiculous. It reminds me of that Family Guy skit when that bus crashed and dude was like, and one person died. Her name was Sarah Gutierrez. Oh, like, bruh.
That's crazy. That's super crazy. And welcome to my man A. Scott right here. One time.
What's up, everyone? Excuse me. I'm sorry I'm running a little late this evening, but I really wanted to be here tonight. So excuse me, please, Najee. What up, Noah? What up, Noah King? Ladies, how you ladies doing this evening?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's my lady right here, Amani Jade, and
hi,
friend of mine, Nia Chris. We've known each other for years.
Hey, peoples, how you peoples living this evening? Y'all good?
We good. And
happy to be up in here, and I enjoyed your last playback of Duck Soup.
I don't know about that last episode. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, Age was not feeling it. Age was not feeling it.
No, so the listeners out there, I'm affiliated with another podcast. I mean, my podcast, me and my bro. Duck Soup the Show, Duck Soup on YouTube. We've been doing it for a long time, and I don't know. I think it's getting under my skin. I almost feel like New Year. I feel like coming anew, really. So,
yeah, I think it's important to keep going. Keep going.
And
I know how it is.
But you know what though? It's funny because That was such a weird show, but I knew in 48 hours I was gonna be, building with you, brothers. So I was just like, oh fuck it, whatever.
No, it was good, and thank you for having us over there. As
I was just like,
we could have got
fuck
it.
my show. I'll be smart on the other one. It's cool. It's no big deal.
Yo.
What up, y'all?
And since you're here, we can go ahead and start introductions proper. All right. And so for the introduction question of the day, I'm gonna give y'all a minute and a half. And I'm actually gonna time the shit. We were just talking about moderation, okay? Literally. So y'all got a minute and a half to tell us who you are, your connection to hip hop, and just three women that you admire in the field of hip hop, no matter what area of hip hop they may be in. And I'll go first. No, I'm gonna let my lady go first.
Okay, well, let's see if I remember all the things you just said. Oh, time me. Oh, I'm getting extra seconds. My name is Amani Jade. I'm an MC. I'm tight. I'm dope. I got all the shit everywhere you can find. And I guess hip hop for me is it's just the power of creative expression as a way to heal. But I am really happy to make happier, slappier music nowadays, that my life is more mundane and benign and not dramatic, which is really good. So I like that because I like to use my imagination. It's cool to be telling real stories and healing and doing it as therapeutic, and then also not having to therapize and just branching out imagination wise. And I'm already rhyming. What else you want me to say?
Your connection to hip hop, which is what you just said, and also three women that you look up to or that you admire within hip-hop.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, like, I was just going back down a Missy rabbit hole because all her 90s videos is just so crazy. Like, how much shit she was doing before it was cool to do the shit, or I don't know. She's just always been in her own lane, so I think it's so dope that she's in a Hall of Fame somewhere for being a pioneer. I like
10 seconds.
a lot of artists. One is enough for a minute and a half. Missy Elliott is a motherfucking goat.
Yeah, Missy Elliott's nice.
And she don't even talk about her sad life stories of childhood. She just really gets creative as fuck.
She's goat.
And branches out.
Alright, since this is about misogyny and hip hop, we're gonna go to the other lady in the room, Nia. You're gonna go ahead and tell us your three things.
Right, okay, I forgot where we started. Okay, wait, let me just see if I can do a minute and a half. So I'm Nia Chris, Nia Spellfish, aka 2 times Nia. I'm in Australia right now, but born and raised between Oakland, West Oakland, downtown Oakland, and East LA, and Echo Park, Silver Lake area. I've been involved in hip hop since I was barely able to spell my own name. I'm old, but I know some folks got strikes in here, so I'm not saying I'm older than anybody, but I'm old. It's 79 was the year, and most of my connection from hip hop started in the early 80s, and in the 90s era, I got really heavy into graffiti and DJing. And so I did a lot of scratching, mixing, cutting, and just getting out back in the day as a teenager. I'm actually today a sound artist. I work with noise art.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Okay. And I just, I like to vocalize. I do a little bit of everything. 3 hip hop folks. Let's see who I can think of. Okay, so Roxanne Shante is one of my favorites, all-time favorites. Sylvia Robinson, CEO and founder of Sugar Hill Records. Just Sylvia Robinson, who y'all probably know is from Mickey. Love is Strange, that song. She that was her first real jam before she started Sugar Hill Records. I love her. And then a third, who else? Well, Light would be one of my favorite, my favorite MCs, period. So
okay, cool. That's dope. Age, you are another guest, and so I'm gonna go ahead and let you drop that.
Thank you so much. I'll be straight to the point. My name is Adrian H. Guy. I'm a hip hop artist, from the Bay Area, stand up, and as a hip hop artist, it's not just like music, but like I feel that hip hop can actually be used in literature and books and writing and movies more. So I've created the first hip hop comic book where I write and draw hip hop characters. So I've been doing that for a long time. So I'm also writing a hip hop horror book.
Ooh.
And I want to, it's like, it's coming. And I want to write from a hip hop perspective, and I also do the music part. The music part is fun, but so that's me as a hip hop artist. I just believe the hip hop should transcend not just what we know, but even more, all over media. And then my favorite top three, well, that's such a big, okay, I'll make it quick. I may not do the whole three, but as Nia mentioned, I'm a huge MC Lyte fan because I feel like MC Lyte was the first female to come in with hard lyrics and still truly like carry herself as a young, cute lady. Not to say other females weren't, but Lyte was cute as hell. It still had hella rhymes for your ass. So yeah, so I'm a big. My mama used to love MC Lyte too. So stop it.
So stop.
Moms are like, my mom used to be like walk by MTV Raps when it was on. She'd be, I like her. So MC Lyte's dope.
Okay, that's time.
By the way, Lyte is still looking fresh. The MC Lyte looks like G&H today.
Still looking
really
good. Shout out to her.
Her and Halle Berry got the same jeans. I'm like, why you look like you still in Catwoman?
Okay.
Okay, Nora King, you go ahead, man.
Okay, well, a lot of people already know me, Noir King. Man, let's see. I was born and raised in Oakland. Man, my connection to hip hop. Let's see. For me, I'd have to go with the expression aspect of it. You feel me? Like it's always been. Even though I am not an MC, I do like poetry and spoken word, which those two, in hip hop go hand in hand. You give me a nice beat, and then it's just boom, chicka, boom, boom. And three female artists. Oh man, let's see. Queen Latifah would be one. She was good. I say Shauna, for her brief little stint in it, she was pretty solid, man. And then of course, the queen bee herself, Lil Kim. So there you go. That would be three. Even though, I don't know. There's so many others that were there, just 20 not seconds. There, So it's too many. I don't know. Like in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, when we look back at the female artists that did it, it's who will really be on that list?
It's a good question. My man froze again, but that's time. We're gonna be able to keep it moving. I'll drop down my info. Give myself a minute and 30. Man, you already know who it is. SumOfMan. I've been rapping since I was 6. My brother taught me from the town. Shout out to East Oakland. Okay. And to me, hip hop has always been about self-expression. And my musical elders, who are not just like hip hop elders, they said to me a long time ago that it's not real music if it doesn't move people or educate. And for myself, the kind of music I like to listen to the most is music that moves me and educates me at the same time. And that's also the kind of music that I want to create as well. So that's what I focus on, and I'm expanding the borders of hip hop, like my man Age, when we're having a conversation right now about hip hop. Hip hop consciousness, hip hop culture as a way of being, as a way of life. And as far as like women who have impacted hip hop, y'all dropped a lot of names. I want to drop some more some newer names to the pot. Tierra Whack, okay, because she really got the gas.
Yes.
Ciroc. Oh my gosh, Ciroc is one of the most vicious MCs I've ever heard in my life. I'm just like, bro, what are you saying right now? How are you doing this? Okay. And if I had to go with a third, I'm gonna say Lauryn Hill. Nobody said Lauryn Hill.
Breaking records with one record.
Exactly. And I think Lauryn Hill is a conversation that we should talk about in this conversation a little bit deeper. But as an artist, I really respect Lauryn Hill. And I respect the kind of things that she was saying in her music. And even though there's other people who are saying similar things, there's not many people, male or female, who really took it to the level that she was taking it to.
Yeah. And now Cardi could be pregnant at Coachella, and Lauren couldn't even live. She had to sing about Zion.
Yeah, she had to pretend like she wasn't pregnant, even though she was hella pregnant.
I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah, that's facts.
Right.
He's the one that told me that if you look at the doo-wop video close enough, you can see that she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
But as a kid, I didn't notice. I didn't notice as a kid.
To cover it.
Like, I wasn't thinking about her being pregnant, and I wasn't involved. Like, I was a child, okay, when that song was out. I was like less 10, maybe, if that. And so it's like hip hop news and hip hop media. I wasn't really on that. If it didn't come on MTV, if it didn't come on the radio, you know what I'm saying, I probably wasn't listening to it. Or BT, late night BT sometimes. BT was the one. But, you know,
BT was lit.
It's interesting to me how hip hop develops over time and how people's statuses develops over time. And that kind of brings us into our first question. Real quick, I want to ask y'all two ladies, before we get into like the meat and potatoes of it, how does it feel to be a woman in hip hop?
You want to speak to that first, so I can dig into it. How does it feel? Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna just say I'm a person that kind of feels like I have something to I get like fueled when I feel like, I'm underestimated. So now I have to prove something to you. And so that really played a big role in how I was moving in my early 20s, about meeting him at the Oakland Mind Cypher, breaking off to make the Sister Cypher, being the host of the Sister Cypher, and then regulating what our cypher was like, because it was very intentional. It was supposed to be very intentional. And I feel like I got so good at like just letting people know and understand that the intention of the space we're making is very clear, and if you get confused about it, I will let you know in a loving way while I'm rapping at you. So it's like there's really nowhere for you to go with it. You have to respect it. And as I got more like outside of the community aspect, as I got more chances to perform and stuff, and people would be like, oh, you're gonna perform, are you a singer, all the time. I just was like, you're just gonna have to see, because this is serious to me. This is like a very important part of my life and my world. And if you have preconceived notions about it, I don't really have time and space to include that in what I'm doing, because particularly performing, it's like a spiritual thing for me. It's like it's for me, and I get to share it with people who are gonna witness me in it. You know what I mean? So if it's for you, it's for you. If you miss it, I don't want to spend my time on it. And I'll say one more thing. There was a time when somebody said to me, because sometimes I would ask specific people to come if I was performing, and sometimes people don't come. And they were like, you should really focus on who does show up and not who doesn't show up. And that really made a difference for me. And now even when people are like, you're so good, like, don't stop. Like, I just want you to know that I see this about you. Even though they mean well, sometimes people say it to me like I'm not clear. But on stage is when I'm probably the most clear. But I know it's not malicious. It's just like, I don't know. It's a weird thing. But people always want to reflect a lot of different shit to you. and I don't know if that goes for all of y'all. but they definitely take license with asking me about what I do and then advising me about how I should do it, and then wanting to pedestal me because they think I do it so exceptionally and just different stuff. And it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. You know, I have a slightly different history related to the art form where, you know, I spent 26 years of my life as a male, and then in my late 20s came out and transitioned. And so it's been another 15 or 16 years living on, you know, the other side. And I don't mean to binarize, you know, but I'm just saying having made that switch was real significant. I think, you know, everything that I experienced through hip hop was through my sister, who's 6 years older than me. And my sister is one of those record collectors, really, in terms of family dynamic and Black family dynamic, the keeper of the hearth when it comes to the music. And my sister, you can't half step around her, you know, like you don't need to know everything. She's not that kind of person, but she is the kind of person where she's really about her music. She's about her records, and where she's going with her own forays into DJing over the last was also really inspiring to me. But you know, when you're kind of introduced to hip hop as a male child through the dynamic of your older, you know, an older female sibling, for me, I think I felt like I got the cream of some of the most essential principles in hip hop. And yet at the same time, I had to really look at what I was listening to very critically, not just whether because it was it whack, was it really on point, was it weak, was it fake, was it manufactured, is it a studio thing, is it what's going on here? But I also had to look at it critically from the standpoint of what's really being said right now. And that started when I was really young. And I think maybe there were a few times where we would listen to the Beastie Boys' first album together, full of misogyny. And after a while, I just noticed my sister kind of stepped away from it. It was really dope. It was like one of our favorite things to listen to. But there was a point where she just said, yeah, you know, I can't listen to that too much. And that's what really made me think, you know, about this connection we have with these narratives in hip hop music. So growing up, you know, getting into shows, cyphers, I was at the Good Life back in the day. I used to go listen to, like, when Black Eyed Peas were still dancing, they weren't even really a group yet. And a lot of in the mix, the Living Legends, you know, all those cats. And I think that, you know, versus the Bay Area communities, which I had less exposure to, but when I come into the Bay Area, you know, Hammer was writ large. Hammer was all over the place. And much respect to Hammer, you know, just being a critical part of the Black community. Okay. But there was also Too Short. It was kind of Too Short, Ant Banks.
Mag Dre.
All the Ruthless record, Ruthless records and stuff. Yeah, all those folks who just, you know, the vibe was different, the message was different, and coming from sort of this community of mostly conscious lyrical MCs to a dynamic where there's no conscientiousness and it's not very lyrical, but it represents this mode of the street, a mode of, you know, really pimp culture in the end is really what I think most of, and I could tell who listened to what. Growing up, you could tell who's sitting around listening to Too Short because that's who they sound like. You could tell who's listening to the others because they're using their words different, they're connected differently to the art form. So there was something about the, you know, the subversion of the conscious that became more clear to me as I kind of matriculated. And especially once I got into my 20s and mid to late 20s, I was really into, you know, I loved West Coast hip hop, West Coast all day. but I was really trying to dig more into the East Coast underground, you know, and you would get groups like the Juggernauts, Breesley Bruin, and his sister, Queen Heroine. I think there's sister and brother is the Queen Heroine. And Queen Heroine is probably one of the dopest women on wax of that era. Like, and when you look at where she was coming from in consideration with someone like Rod Digga or Lauryn Hill, you realize that they were all kind of in the same circle. These women ran into each other a few times, used to hang out, kick it, spit rhymes, and the whole 9 yards. So you get the lineage of that, you know, not to create a hierarchical dynamic around it, but there's an elitism, there's an elite MC, there's someone who's a spitter, who can get on a microphone and make people change what they were even thinking about, what they were doing in the moment, to be a part of the movement, and to be engaged with it. So I always felt like, you know, Latifah, it was just, I felt like the presence of women in hip hop was always a part of me, and always informed what I felt like was the echelon, that kind of up that higher level of being able to translate the narratives and stories from real life into, you know, a full record album that would give me the information, you know, and would help me kind of develop an understanding and that knowledge of self. So there was that's the nexus of conflict for me, you know, really, because it was hard to also grow up during a time where NWA, Two Live Crew, right? These are all, these are all people who got taken to court and sued over what they were saying on records. C. Dolores Tucker, and you know, as a civil rights activist. And so I just, that was an interesting time where it's percolating. I think post, you know, when I came out and transitioned, everything really kind of, it wasn't that those conversations stopped happening, but I think if you were really to look at the consciousness, the core of the conscious community in Black culture, the Black community, the consciousness in hip hop, there was kind of a bit of like a, you know, it was like, okay, Jay-Z's big, Notorious B.I.G.'s really big, Snoop Dogg, you know, Dr. Dre, Death Row Records is one. There really, it wasn't a much more of the essential argument, this real intense public discourse going on, like in Congress or courtrooms. What are y'all feeding to the kids, and how are you educating our people, and where does all this come from? What is misogyny? What is this? What does it mean to censor a record? You know, Ice-T, Cop Killer, that whole era. So there was a big thing that happened in the beginning of the 90s, and then by the time it was like the early 2000s, you know, there was more of an underground flavor, but less of it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop right now because I'll just, you know, kind of tie it off here. But the conversation changed, and I think that people sort of have this sense of, well, it's cool and it's funky and yeah, it's gray area, but we still gonna fuck with it. It's all this. Yeah, everything's good. We like women in hip hop. We like men in hip hop. It's all good. But what I noticed is that there was more of a deficit. There was more of a deficit in value in that non-conscious community. There was a point where you could say you were just doing street rap. It was just street stories, and you're just narrating stuff that you lived through a bit in your life, and then you find out, hey, guess what? Well, some of y'all didn't really live through a whole lot. You up in the studio faking it. Okay, you talk stories about people that you hang out with, not your own. Okay, so there's that. And then there was kind of this complete lapse in, you know, one second you're talking about B's and H's and everything, and then the next second, you know, it's like now it's become weaponized. And there was a response. Then suddenly it's, who are we mad at now? We mad at Nicki Minaj? We mad at Lil' Kim? Who are we mad at? Because really what they did was they said, oh, okay, so you can make money off of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make money off it too. And that's actually an interesting statement, because it brings us on to our second question. At Age, I want to let you take this one first. And that is, how do you feel about the current position of women in the culture?
First and foremost, I want to say a personal thank you, King Six, for coming to the soup the other night. I didn't say thank you to you. I wanted to give you your big up. Women in the game right now. Well, like everything else in society, is male dominated, and the male will always seem to have one up. But the game is so one. I mean, it's kind of like the same shit from dudes. I feel like women could come and steal the game, like steal it from under the dudes' ears and eyes, if the right woman were to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, women are always so powerful in society that right when you think that you count them out, they win. You know what I'm saying? So, women, the position in the game, I mean, I'm not gonna dwell on like what you obviously know of, like, the stories of females that look like buffoons, but like there's a lot of strong women that are still doing it, like Rhapsody, she's dope. Jean Grey, she's still eating off of her thing. So there are some strong representation of women in hip hop. I'm not going to just sit here and say that all of them are booty shaking and, twerking and shit like that. And what we expect from, like, I don't know, Cardi or Nicki or whoever's doing it now. I don't know. I don't keep up with that shit.
Shout out to DJ Ro.
Yeah. He's tuned in right now.
Wait, hold on. DJ Ro. Is that Roselle?
Yeah, that's Ro from Duck Soup.
Hey,
what up?
Shout out to Roselle, man.
Send him the link.
To you too.
Yeah. He's
you
in
want to send him the link?
Chat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't want to send him the link. I mean, everyone loves your show. We definitely want to come here and quit Duck Soup.
Y'all stupid.
Listen, we got applications.
You are stupid.
We are accepting applications for a third co-host.
Always.
No, okay, but seriously, back to my question real quick to answer in a nutshell. The game is dominated by men, but I feel that a strong female can always snatch it up from under the dude's eyes and ears, aka Lauryn Hill that one summer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Lauryn Hill got the best verse on Nas' album.
Yo, I think everyone went to Nas' album just to hear it.
They did. That's why I listened to Nas' album. Okay, Nas was good. Nas was good, but that Lauryn Hill verse, I was like, okay, I hear you, Miss Hill. Noir King, what do you think about the position of women in hip hop right now?
Oh man, again, I barely even listen to the radio, so I can't really say. Because again, once this, like, I don't know, once the mumble rapping started, and then they went into this whole like, this is club music. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna back out until we get into some real stuff again. Y'all start talking about something again, But man, where I feel on women's position in the industry now, I mean, that's a tough one. As a child of the '90s, I grew up in that gangsta, like, NWA Too Short era, right? Women weren't women in music when I was growing up. You was either, B's or H's. That was it. It was, and if you was trying to rap outside of that, you had to be hard as nails. Look at Queen Latifah. Look at her back catalog. Look at Lil' Kim's back catalog. Like, it was hard music that was directed towards men. It wasn't directed towards female empowerment. That's where if you wanted that, you have to go over to the singing side. You have Beyonce and the Destiny's Childs and the TLCs. Those were really the ones that were there for more like the support. But as far as the hip hop side went, it was like, yo, if you ain't rapping hard or denouncing other females in your rap, why are you here? You feel me? Like, that's how the game was for a long time. I personally felt like that until Missy Elliott came around, and then she kind of was like, yeah, we can make, club stuff too. We can make hip hop that's cool and that's not about us dissing females and all that shit. I was like, hey. And then shout out to Eve too. Man, we did not talk about her. Yo, Eve was solid. But again, Like any other female that came out at that time that tried to rap about female empowerment, you got pushed out. If you was rapping about women coming together, you was rapping about, oh, how we not B's and H's, you done. You out. Bye. I mean,
that's
man.
facts. That's facts.
Yo, I love Snoop Dogg. I love old Snoop Dogg. But if you listen to it, him and Too Short was basically singing about the same stuff. How we get women on the track. If you look at those old videos from the 90s, all those women was half naked. They were all dressed like they was
including Tupac's videos. Okay.
Tupac, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, all of them. Like every female, they was always at a party. They was always half naked. All right. Like, I mean, man, it runs deep. Okay. It runs deep. And why I say this, not to hate and not to say like, oh, that was so bad. Ooh, go back and condemn. No. I say that simply to say that is what the narrative was pushed. Okay. So when you see that on TV and you hear the kids on the bus calling their friends bees and stuff like that, it's like, damn, you feel me? Like, well, what do I say to that? You know, how do I tell my son or my daughter not to say that, not to call women that when this is all they hearing? Even myself as an adult, I mean, Lupe Fiasco said it best. What's that song? Bitch Bad. Y'all, I never heard that. Absolutely one of the greatest songs ever. Like, damn. Check it out. That can say it better than anything I could ever say up here, man. But, you know, to wrap it up, it is important that, you know, we recognize that women can be more than just background dancers and eye candy in hip hop. They don't have to be Cardi B's and Nicki Minaj's to make money.
What you make me think of is early on, I started writing when I wrote my first rap when I was 11 because my cousin told me to, which makes me think, you know, sometimes a gatekeeper, it's not that bad. But you can be a good gatekeeper, I'm just saying. Okay, but the one time that I kind of just made some shit up on the spot, probably in high school, I was rapping as a dude about different types of
women.
But that's not what I was rapping about. And it was so easy. It was so easy. It was easier than.
Excuse me, ma'am. I gotta hear the. I'm an uncut motherfucker. You can crush around me. What was the word you were making? What were you were talking about? Bitches and hoes.
It was bitches, hoes, slut. It was all of it. It was all. It was a stream of consciousness that was easily available, especially as a hyphy teenager, and even about dicks and different ways to talk about one. But I didn't even have one, but I just rapped like I did, and it was easy. It was easy work.
This news to me.
I got a lot of fluids.
You know what though? You know what though?
It was tight for what it was.
My thing, the thing with the hip hop thing, as we get older, I don't want to be that guy who grows up and gets older and then starts looking down at my own personal youth and be like, "Oh, that was so wrong." But like hip hop, we all grew up in the Bay. You know, we know the words. We grew up in the like. As the kids come into hip hop, it's gonna be there for them. Like the power. You know what? I think women, like you just said, you were almost empowered by rapping about dudes and their dicks and even though you weren't engaging in a real person in real life, you just knew how to spit that shit because that's what you heard. Like that's the shit we grew up on. Like, and when we grow up and now we're getting older, we're in our 30, 40, 50s. Now we're gonna act like you didn't grow up on Mobb Deep and you like grew up. Nigga, shut up.
Mac Drake.
Nigga, you woke up on survival of the fittest every day.
I grew up on Mac Dre.
Come on.
Mac Dre.
Yeah.
Mac Dre is
so
Mac Dre and Too Short.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember Life is Too Short.
Are you
Oh my god,
serious?
that album slaps so much. Wait, why you gotta say it like short? We all said it like short.
Yeah, for real. For real.
We all said it like short as kids. Yes.
And you know,
There's more than just one thing going on here,
Yeah,
though.
go ahead.
It's not just because I feel you, and the truth of it is that was the jam. Those were the jams. I mean, that wasn't. But we develop a desensitization towards it too, because hip hop actually didn't start out that way, right? Like when I came into it, it was perfectly fine to drop Bitch and Ho on an album and then rap about it all day and let's play that for the 8th time. There was never really, it wasn't that there weren't issues, it's just that where you were hearing those issues surface was coming from the parts of the community that had already been devalued well before Too Short even laid down a record in the first, and I think when we look at, like gangsterism is a real interesting, because this little stuff comes packaged, right? If everybody on this call right now wanted to drop a gangster rap album, we'd probably be done with it in a few hours.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like,
That nigga and put him in a tongue. Go to the dump.
Live right now. We almost through track 5.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that. There's a part of this that's packaging, right? And it's like, for there to be a gangster, for there to be a pimp, that means there needs to be an object or resource that you're selling out. And this didn't start magically in 1980. It started in the 70s. It was, you ask people, how did you go? How did your people, everybody you connected to who's older than you right now, how did those folks go from being one love, brother to brother, sister to sister, the Panthers, the whole 9 yards, to shooting each other, to literally murdering each other, one neighborhood over from each other within a period of about 4 or 5 years?
Correct.
It's
crack.
When
It is straight up crack.
Yeah, when did it go? How did that happen? And you'll notice some people will name check a few things. If you really look at your history, Black history during that time, people say, Shaft happened. That was the Black Panther / Wakanda of that time. Shaft was all about being down for Shaft. Shaft was all about bitches and hoes, and I'll slap a bitch and everything else.
Damn right.
Young people came
and then for the Bay Area, it's the Mac too.
In the Mac,
right? Yeah. Oh
the
my
Mac.
God.
Mandatory.
It is mandatory, but I think it's one of the most influential movies in the Bay Area of all time.
Now, to me, that's just capitalism. That's exploitation. Capitalism. For capitalism to exist, you have to have natural resources to which you're going to exploit to capitalize off of. In hip hop's case, the first capital, all the initial capital in hip hop came from I'm shooting niggas and I'm slapping bitches. Okay,
that's got $1 million song right there.
When especially like during like the late 80s. But if we take it back further, right, in the 70s with Sylvia Robinson, like Sugar Hill Gang, right? First of all, I want to say Sylvia Robinson, she is basically the force that made hip hop what it is today. She was the first gatekeeper. Okay. And I respect Sylvia Robinson because she picked up those, I'm gonna just keep it real, she picked up those bums, made that record, okay, made Sugar Hill Gang records, but then, and this is why I respect her, she realized that those people didn't represent hip hop for real, and that the sound that she created didn't represent hip hop, and she went to get real people who were really like deeply invested in the community, and she put them on wax too. Okay, shout out to The Message, shout out to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. Okay, so I just want to get that out the way. But the inception of hip hop is founded by a woman, but during that time, they're not talking about the same kind of stuff that we started to talk about in the late 80s, right? Late 80s, early 90s, when gangster rap really started to rise, when NWA started to rise, when Too Short popped out, and it's after the Mac, right? And what that makes me think about, I
would add the crack. Those two.
Yeah. I mean, all that stuff in the crack epidemic really changed our culture, right? And I think it changed a lot of people's brains. I think it changed a lot about how we related and reacted to each other. And that's outside force. It's not even us doing that to ourselves, right? But what that makes me think about is just the historical development of Black people in this country, right? And you talked a little bit about capitalism and the commoditization of things and people for exploitation, and it goes all the way back to slavery, right? Where we as people were products, and we were essentially being pimped for our work, right? And then we get out of slavery, right? But we're still being pimped for our work. We become sharecroppers, and it's the same kind of system, right? And to me, what happens is, at a certain point, we begin to pimp ourselves, right? Women use their bodies. Sometimes men pimp women. Sometimes men pimp themselves. Sometimes women pimp themselves. Sometimes men and women pimp other people, right? And I think in the 80s, right, that blew up. Like, it was really prevalent, I think, in the 20s and 30s, and for a minute, it kind of slowed down a little bit. It kind of started switching gears. But then the 80s came out, crack came out, and people was like, "Oh, it's full blown, it's back." Like, I need something to pimp. I need somebody to pimp. I sell crack to your mother.
I sell crack to my mom, and then quit.
But I just wanted to speak on something that Age has said earlier. Yeah, for sure, man. Look, Jay-Z, okay, and 50 had two of the best songs about pimping I've ever heard, next to Old School Too Short, right?
Ludacris had a good song too, because
and
pimping all over the world, where do they best ones come from? Africa. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Now, with that being said, though, right, there was an old country singer who he did that song. I got 99 problems, right? But a bitch ain't one. So it goes. I'm just saying, it goes full circle to speak on what.
Yes.
Yeah, 99 Problems was a country song for the folks who don't know.
Iceberg Slim. The game has been around. It's already been established
Forever. I mean,
forever.
Go ahead. I mean, like, look, we could sit here and look. We're in 2023, bro, and we're still like having discussions that were with C. Dolores Tucker with the bitch word in the 90s. Now, look, we could do that, and that's cool. Like, we could talk about the N word and the B word and this C word, man. Or we as a people, because society has gotten real different and real tough, embrace these words and get over it. Like, first and foremost, like hip-hop's gotten so weird because it's like it's our music, but we let them kind of tell us our rules. Like, and I'm not saying the B word or all these words are inappropriate, but I think we get more frustrated trying to come up with a resolution when we know these words are probably in our DNA a lot more than just our vocabulary. Maybe
wait, shit. I
say like
Hold
this.
on,
You know, like
say that again.
I say the word nigga, nigger, niggy, nigga. All these N-word variations, I say that they're in our DNA because we got these beat into us.
Literally.
No fact.
Yeah. So at 2023, if you're a female rapper and you get offended because somebody says bitch, but your homegirls say bitch all the time, you should just get over it. Like, you, my niggas, me, my niggas. If I call my nigga, my homie, my nigga, and if somebody that doesn't get it, doesn't understand, that's not for me to explain to you, though, bro.
I agree with that.
Like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't think that's all. I just want to say that there is no resolution. There's no resolution.
No, there's no.
I don't think so.
I agree.
And I had a question. I had a question for everybody. Real quick. Quick question.
Okay.
How do y'all feel about saying bitch on the track? Is it cool? Is it not cool? Do you feel indifferent? Real quick.
I'm gonna be honest. I'll be honest. I like Age said, I've heard it for so long. I couldn't. It goes over my head. It's like, yo, like, you call
wash off your back like a duck in water.
Exactly. Like when another black man calls me, what's up, my nigga? Yo, what's up? Hey, what's up, bro?
Mr. Breckenridge, thank you for the 9-month subscription.
I just think that you're not that you're probably not that tight unless you said it in the context where what you said was tight. I'm a lyrical rapper, so I am not gonna. I mean,
You're my sister. That's the equivalent of me looking to Naja's wife and say, "Hey, how you doing, bruh?" Like me calling you bruh is not disrespectful. I'm not calling you a dude. I'm not calling you brother. I'm like, that's like Bay Area slang for like you. Like, what's up, bruh? Like, if I don't call a female by her legal name, but I call her like my nigga. I mean, these are all words of endearment in our own twisted way, you know?
But bitch is not.
For the
Well, hold up.
You ain't gonna endear me if you call me bitch. I broke up with a nigga who said I was his bitch.
That's absolutely right. But like, even that word right there, it's like how you say it. Like if you say like bitch in bad way, but like if you're into some hot love making, bitch, take this. You know, yeah.
Hey.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it real.
I mean,
to do with the person you having sex with, but that's not a rule of thumb.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, some women, okay, might be cool with that, but I know for a fact this one would not be. If I said that,
what the
it
fuck?
don't matter how much passion is in the room, all the passion is leaving.
Record stop.
We're now in an argument.
Record skips.
The waters of Lake Minnetonka have dried, sir. You have some things to be accountable for.
Names get talked.
There's some conversations that need to be had here.
I'm sorry.
You need to take the Bible.
I don't get what you're saying about I don't really. Are you saying that bitch can be used arbitrarily and without?
I'm saying that, you know what, we're in this space right now where it's not even comfortable for me to address it. But if your girl was next to you, you guys just having your moment, and she's like, bitch, like in a space where not being disrespectful, but it's like, my nigga, you know, like it's this weird moment where we call each other foul names, but it's an endearment moment.
It is, and
it's weird. It's weird.
Equated to, and I want to go to the next subject.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Hopefully, you know I mean no disrespect to you at all, my dear.
Because I just want to add just what you're saying, Age. Because what you're saying is, when you're using those terms in a space of disarmament, when you're disarmed, that means you're around friends, you're around your people, you have consent, you have language that builds the bridge. But I don't think hip hop or rap music are in a state of disarmament most of the time. This is weaponization, and
I don't have to agree with you on that.
I think it is definitely weaponized.
Well, but then you got the Megans.
You'll have white folks.
But I was just about to get into that.
You got white folks that happily drive up next to you, and because they heard the wrong records, they thinking, "Hey, nigga, what's up?" Okay,
yeah, that's true. That's true. Mm-hmm. That is true.
That's facts. That's facts. And look, so what I want to say real quick is that it's like this. I can say, "What's up, my nigga?" to my white friends, to my black friends, to whoever. But if my white friends say, "Hey, what's up, nigga?" I'm like, "Hey, nigga, what's up?" It might be a fight, right? And I think about the word bitch that way. If women want to say it to other women, okay, that's y'all. But that doesn't mean me as an outsider, I'm gonna say it to y'all. Or I'm gonna call y'all bitches.
It's this weird thing that we know we kind of do, but makes no sense, but we do it, and we know we do it, but makes no sense, but we do it. It makes
exactly.
no sense.
And I think a cultural shift.
We just do it. We just do it.
What would change things? That's why I don't personally call women bitches, but I agree with what Tupac said.
Okay, yes, man.
There's two kinds. There's some women are bitches, but then there's women who are not.
Some niggas are bitches too. But
amen.
And I said earlier,
and some people are nigga bitches.
I want to hear you, Noir King, because you be like, but I just want to say, earlier I said to him, he said, "Where you want to eat?" I said, "Girl, ain't nobody trying to." He said, "Girl." And I don't even say bitch to people like that. I say girl. But dudes don't be like, "Aw, bitch," or maybe be like, "You bitch ass nigga." You gotta qualify it with an ass nigga on it. You're not gonna be like, bitch.
Nah,
you're not gonna do that.
If my father calls me a bitch, that's them fighting words. We can't be honest no more.
What was you gonna say, Noir King?
No, I was just gonna say again, back to the song. Lupe made a really good point. He was like, "Yo, like this little girl grew up in a world where she saw, you know, females acquiescing to this hip hop guy who was like, boom, this is what it is," and they were like, "Wow, I want that. Like, I want to be that person because that's the queen bitch." You feel me? But now you fast forward and then like they're having an interaction. This dude's like, "Wow, I think that you're like kind of like my mom's." You feel me? Like a bitch. But she's like, "Don't call me that." But in her mind, she's a bitch though. You feel me? She is that bitch because that is what is dictated as the hierarchy in this world that we live in hip hop. You feel me? Again, it goes back to the videos. Look at all those old school videos, man. You see all these half naked females dancing around all these rappers with money doing this and the chains and all that shit, and they're like, "Yep, I love bitches and hoes."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna say, as a young impressionable youth, I'm like, wow, I want that. Like, I don't have jack shit, and the only other people in my neighborhood who even come close to having stuff like that is the pimps and the drug dealers.
This is capitalism.
So might as well be a pimp or a drug dealer, or at least pretend.
So what am I supposed to do if I want that lifestyle, especially coming where I come from? And again, this is no knocks to Oakland because I grew up there, but seriously, the pimping out there is real. Like,
oh my god, bro, it's too real.
I can't stress that shit enough. I'm not trying to joke or be funny or like trying to be like ha ha ha. No, that is real for us. So when I say that growing up as a kid, that's literally what we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Pimps, hoes,
yep, and then all the music and the Mac just made it much more worse.
And Najee was right. It was the crack. It was like, if you look back through Oakland's history, my family had been in there for a long time. Like, they got deep roots out there, and a lot of them moved out once the crack hit because they was like, "Oh, we got to go." You know, unfortunately, some of them didn't, and that's on them. That's tragic. But man, my uncle died a couple years ago because he was one of those people who got caught up in this shit, and he was on crack for hella years. And I remember
my mom was the same way, bro. I feel you. Okay.
They hit us with that, "Hey, we can't see Uncle Ronnie no more." Like, oh damn, like that. It's bad.
No, it was. Bad, and it makes a person a different person. You know, I remember seeing my mom at times when she was doing that stuff, and I remember seeing her when she was not off that stuff, and her mind state completely shifted. You know, even though when she was with me in person, she wouldn't be on drugs, right? But the fact that she was doing them at that time shifted how she thought about things, shifted how she interacted with things. You know what I'm saying? And all of that really is capitalism. All of that really is oppression. And I think that the position that women have in hip hop, how much power women are able to get in hip hop, the kind of music that gets promoted from women in hip hop is really all based in capitalism. And I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but like, and we all touched on it, but hip hop since the beginning of it being like a big mainstream thing has been commercialized, right? And it's been commercialized by people who are outside of the community. And that's why I like Sylvia Robinson, because she actually went back and made things right. The rest of these record label executives, they're not about making things right. They're really about control, and they're about pushing a narrative that's going to continue to destroy the community so they can make money off the destruction. You know what I'm saying?
Man, can I make mention? Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm okay. I'm all right. I can wait.
Oh, I was just gonna say, since we mentioned some bad, I was gonna mention a couple good. You know, rappers like Common, some of Tupac's older music that actually promote female empowerment. You know, even from the male side. You know, Common may have his you know, every so often songs, but for the majority of it, he was talking about how we need to uplift Black people and stuff. Like, that's good shit. Lupe Fiasco talks about how he doesn't like to use bitch in his music unless he's trying to make a point. But again, it's really hard. It's really hard to walk that line. You feel me? And especially in hip hop, you want to be you want to be the hard rapper so you can sell to the masses, but you also want to speak a message. So it's like, what do I do?
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard.
You know what you gotta do? You have to get, if you want to be a rapper.
Hey, shout out to CR27.
You have to get your literacy up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that bitch is a basic bad habit, and a lot of it is like you said, Nia. If we wanted to make some gangster rap shit right now, or even some pimp shit or whatever, it would be done fast. It has something to do with like literacy. I feel like literacy and just like basic level being able to use words and put shit together. And there are people who are like saying ratchet ass shit. You can say, like, Mac Dre said ratchet ass shit, but he was so dope at putting words together. Like, this nigga was a master with words. And even with the fucked up language he was using and the pimp shit and the drug shit, which he was putting that shit together. And I feel like being able to do that is where you inspire people to find their own lane with some shit and what they want to talk about. Because, I mean, I think you got to talk about the shit that's around you if you're going to be real about the shit. But if you are like, yeah, I'm about to use all these literary devices in my shit, I'm about to be masterful with the craft of this, then, like, that's important for people to see. Even if the content is fucked up. Like, I needed to have that Mac Dre album. And then I needed to go through, I'm woke and this is terrible and look down on it, and then come full circle where I say nigga and bitch now again, but it's a different me saying the words and I'm clear about it. It's the journey of the shit.
Go ahead.
Well, no, we got two questions in the chat real quick. So the first question is, what is the value of a human being? I don't think the value of a human being can be measured.
What's the value of it?
Yeah,
immeasurable.
Immeasurable. My worth is immeasurable. I need $80 gajillion. I need a number of money that does not exist yet, sir. I need entire universes dedicated to me. That's my value. But Jane the Message also has a question, and she asks, do you think the image for women is woven into substances, and specifically she means drugs? And she says the whole idea of someone being in sex work when drugs are involved is extremely destructive to the woman who finds herself in that situation.
Say that again, wait, one more time and slow it down, please.
Okay. So,
I know I'm like,
yeah, so do you think the image for women is woven, like as far as hip hop goes, into substances like drugs? The image for women is it's okay. And she also adds that the whole idea of someone being in sex work and being on drugs, or when drugs are involved, is extremely destructive to a woman who's in that actual situation.
That's true.
Can I enter?
We're still talking.
No. Age, man. You the guest, bro. Go for it.
And Age and then Nia? Okay.
No, Nia, please take it. I'll be a gentleman. Go ahead, ma'am, please.
Thank you. I would just say that you have to realize that part of this is the science of hip hop. That people can speak narratives and hypotheticals and still be able to represent a truth. And the idea that there is just a consciousness and then just a low level kind of vibe is really not necessarily true anymore. That's also an artificial separation in the music industry, that if you can't say bitch and hoe on a record, then that really means that you can't sell, which is not true, right? And we definitely know it's not true today. But in terms of, the idea of someone being, and this is substance abuse, substances in women is that's not the only kind of capital we're talking about here. We're also talking about substances in men, okay? Mm-hmm. Because for there to be a woman who's in a position where she needs to work, she's out here in the street working, or she's into sex work and doing drugs, or caught up in a cycle of that, means there's got to be a dealer too. There's got to be a man who's a dealer, or
at least a buyer.
Occupy that, or a buyer. So there's a dynamic in the hip hop pantheon. It's like you're always going to have people who are supplying and selling, giving and taking. And if we don't realize that, we get kind of caught up in a bit of confusion around this, because it's not just that it's women in that position, although women disproportionately impacted, okay, for the entirety of drug epidemics affecting the Black community. Is always going to be women significantly impacted by those kinds of ills, of social ills. But you're also talking about, within the architecture of hip hop as an art form, within rap specifically, the male has changed the tone. Back in the 90s, you couldn't rap about being on no fucking drugs. You better cool.
No, you couldn't. People were selling drugs, and before that, people didn't even talk about doing drugs at all.
No kind of blow cocaine. People would be like, "Hey, we're dealers. We're dealers over here. We don't do any of that shit. We sell it," and that's why
I don't do crack, motherfucker. I sell it.
I know we don't. We're not doing it. So to look at what's happened now is it's switched, where most of the young men coming out in music are actually addicts. They're talking about with drugs,
like Juice WRLD. Like, nigga really died off drugs.
And we're still talking in terms of hypotheticals, because I want the rap record for, or actually it's not a hypothetical anymore. People mad at Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion or whoever else, Lil Kim, because they look like strippers who've been doing drugs, and they got a whole album about it.
But Cardi B actually was a stripper.
And she used to drug men.
Exactly.
To know how it was, you go get the record, right? You could go get the record. Cardi B could have recorded anything about her life. She chose to do that. There are plenty of women in the genre who have the capacity to speak and add language and articulate. To my sister's point, is that articulation is the difference between whether you're just listening to some kind of flatland, one-directional, one-dimensional kind of nonsense, like, okay, that's the same stuff we heard last year, or you're digging more into the experience of the thing. To me, that's really the science of hip hop, that you can dig into the beingness of that stuff and come out with something that's really gold and transcends the subject matter.
Like Kendrick.
Yeah, that's why I fuck with him.
And definitely, like, Kendrick is raw. I mean, we look forward to Kendrick's album, but like, this hip hop thing that everyone's talking about and coming in on, all it is poetry to beats. And when you're writing your own lyrics, your own story, people are like coming up with your own fiction, their own stories and all. So some great albums have bitch and motherfucking some of these simple words, and some don't. But can we really, women being inwoven in the staple of with the drugs and the, like, is their image the worst in hip hop? Well, Black men, we get an automatic thug image. I mean, you gotta be on like a gangster rapper with tats and don't, Lord forbid, if you got tattoos in the 90s, you just look like a thug.
Or if you had locks.
Yeah, locks. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was just so. I'm just saying that we put hip hop under so much of a microscope, and remember, it's fiction. It's it's not fiction. It's poetry written to beats, and some of this has some fact to it. But I'm not holding these rappers under the microscope, because half these dudes, like you said, are bitch ass niggas, and whatever. I mean,
and they be faking the funk and all that kind of
faking
stuff.
the funk and the whole shit. But
I think it's worth putting these fools under the microscope because they faking it.
I mean, but
I you know what? Honestly, I would like to, but hip hop since the very beginning has been fake. Sugar Hill Gang hurt my heart. None of these niggas were rappers.
Okay, if that's where hip hop started for you, okay.
No, I mean, hip hop was around before that, but I just mean the mainstream,
the industry of
industry hip hop.
Industry. So that's the thing, is when you have to look at who is showing up to talk about having a bitch and a hoe and how they be sleeping and everything else. When you really look at these people, it's like, man, you not from nowhere. Plus, you didn't sell those drugs. Also, you not no real pimp. Fool, you're not a real pimp. And then you look at people like Ice-T, for instance.
Or Mac Dre.
He grew up actually robbing banks. Ice-T robbed some few banks. He on CSI looking soft and everything. he's not. So the imagery.
It looked easy. He couldn't write a word of rap, but everything he rap was true.
No, right? I know, right?
And I
Hey,
agree.
thank you, Jane.
It's fiction.
To
Go ahead.
answer that question though, real quick. I mean, are they woven? I mean, I don't know. We call weed Mary Jane. So I mean,
She's my
come on, man.
main thing.
Bags. What do they call crack? White girl? I mean, come
White
on,
girl.
bro. I don't want to say that it is, but I mean, it kind of is, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
And you know, prostitution came out way before rap did.
That's facts. That's facts.
Well,
hey man, the second
addiction.
oldest form of business in the world, next to trading, is prostitution. Then is assassination. If you guys did not know that,
What?
Nigga, what kind of dark web you Reddit? You be y'all know.
Assassination is the third, bro.
You know these stats.
I'm just letting y'all know, man. The three oldest businesses in the world, man. Is
Like they're like, okay, we need to sell shit to people. I need to buy some sex from somebody, and I need
And
somebody
kill
to
this nigga.
Somebody got to go.
Question though.
Man, you know what it was? What it was is somebody on the first hieroglyphs, they put that fucking bird upside down. Like, this nigga always a rap. It's a rap, bro. Hey,
Upside down, bro.
13,
It's hilarious. Upside down bird, bro.
Bruh, 10 drachma on this dude right now, bruh. Right now, he's got to go. He's got to go,
That's a
bruh.
10 drachma. Oh my god, bro.
You did it? Yeah, right now, bro. Right now. Like, get the spear, get the cats. We own this dude, bro. Like, this man, put the bird upside down, bro.
Hey yo, look.
Bird upside down, bro. He has to go.
That's facts.
Jane in the chat said, "Now I want to read a story about someone who does all three jobs. In the morning they trade, then they sell sex, and then they assassinate the person they just fucked."
Got your ass, boy.
You can find it, man. You can find it, bro. Hey, just remember, if y'all think that drugs addiction is terrible now, it was considered honorable to take all your money at one point. I'm dead ass serious. You could take all your money. You could go to and buy as much opium as you could. Go to the nearest whorehouse and literally do drugs and have sex until you died. And that was considered a good death. Like, oh, damn. You heard Tommy went down to the opium den and died? Damn. That's some hard shit. Yeah,
People
man.
addicted to sex too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they go hand in hand.
I'm sorry, guys.
Wait,
You
hold
know
on.
what?
Time check.
Okay.
It's 8:30 right now. Usually our show ends at 8:30.
Yeah.
Can we do like another 15 minutes? Into 8:45?
It went by so fast. Okay, good.
I'm chilling with you guys. I'm here till when you guys cut it off. It's good. Real quick then. As I was trying to throw something off at the soup the other night, because we were just in a dismay that night. I feel like hip hop, it's came a long way, and us kind of like altering it and trying to like disturb its groove. Like, I feel like as it's getting, we leave your hip hop alone. Like, we just need to be better parents. I think Nas just spoke on it the other night. Like, you said it, like, stop looking to change hip hop and bumping your head about why these kids saying the N-word and bitch and like, oh, Cardi B, like, oh, I'm getting a headache. Cause bro, like, I'm sorry that this world and this music is kind of like fucked up, but it is for adults. And be a better parent. Raise your kid.
Facts. Be a better parent.
Be a better parent, because all these other situations are going to just spin you around and you're not going to really get anywhere with it. We've been holding these same conversations for fucking forever since hip hop started.
That's facts. That's facts. And I heard Lil Nas X said, "Fuck them kids."
God,
And he's the man. He's the man right now, right?
Exactly.
Speak on what old girl said earlier about the what she said. Hold on, because I had it. It was so good. It was so good in my brain. Oh my god. But no, to speak on what she has said earlier, I'm gonna get it. You guys gonna have to come back to me. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah,
oh my god.
It's all good. It's all good. So like,
I had it.
I'm gonna ask one last question, but also I don't want to ask two questions because this is something for me. I'm gonna just ask it. For me, when it comes to women in hip hop right now, I feel like things are messed up for women in hip hop. First of all, women always get pitted against each other, right? For supremacy, to be the best female MC in hip hop, right? Like this thing with Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, right? But I think also it's kind of Nicki Minaj
versus everybody.
Versus
She always
everybody.
with people, but anyway.
But there's like that dichotomy, and I think since the time of Lil' Kim, not a lot of women have really been able to get to like a really, really high level of hip hop and not sexualize themselves and not sexualize their music to a really high degree, right? You get people like Nicki Minaj, you get people like Megan Thee Stallion, you get people like Cardi B, City Girls, and these are the kind of people who really get pushed to the top of the mainstream charts. Whereas you got somebody like No Name or Jean Grey, you know what I'm saying? And they don't really get as much play. Like Ciroc is one of the best rappers I think of all time, just in general, male, female, otherwise. But that kind of women who go that approach, they don't get as much play as women who go the other approach. And even Lil' Kim, Biggie was like, "Hey, look, bro, your rapping is good, but you have to do something else to get the people's attention." And the crazy part is it worked, and it worked hella well, you know.
Oh, yeah. Again, she sat down and she said she wanted to be the queen bee, and that was it. And she made that her thing. She didn't just say it; she owned it. She was like, "This is my thing. I'm about to be this person."
No, that's facts. That's facts. But the other thing I want to say, and this is also a question. I've heard a lot of stories about women in hip hop who are not necessarily like selling their bodies or selling sex as an image, and I've heard that a lot of them had ghostwriters. People like Queen Latifah. There are a lot of people who say that Lauryn Hill had ghostwriters. That Trench wrote for a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? And so, and even Lil' Kim, again, Biggie obviously helped her write a lot of her stuff, right? Even though she was a good rapper before. Nicki Minaj, she was a good writer, but her music changes, right? Writers start coming into the room to help boost her up. So how do y'all feel about that?
Is that the question?
Yeah.
I'm about to just say this. There was a couple things. The fact and the level of hypersexuality in the way that the mainstream biggest rappers who are women are rapping right now is not a bad position for many people. Many people are happy about it. When I had what was the Bay Area version of like Pink Dollars and all of that type of shit, Vixen, all that type of shit, like the Freaky Tales, but like the girl version. And it was like obviously not mainstream music, but it was relevant to hear sexual music, but from female perspectives. That's one thing. I don't think that that's bad. I just think, it's obviously dominant in the mainstream, but even when it wasn't mainstream, it was still relevant and good for people like me to listen to. And even be able to write some shit like that myself, even if I wouldn't put that on my Bandcamp and put it out for the world. The other thing is all this ghostwriter shit. I don't have no comment about that. I feel like people are being throwing hella salt and shade because they just don't like dope ass women rappers. But there's like kind of two sides. You have the I want to be a popular famous person side, and so your talent can be even a lot attributed to the image you have. Like you said, the word image. Like there's literally people who's famous for their image. For what? They literally do nothing, and then since they're famous because of their image, they created businesses which created the money. If you are a fan of rap for the technicality of it, then you're gonna find these people and it's gonna be relevant to you. If you consume music but you're not the technicality of the writing, the lyrics and all that shit is not relevant to you, then a female doing it, a lot of people just don't like A lot of people just hate on women who are lyrical rappers.
I know
and
why.
They'll give you something if you sexually arouse them, then you can get it past maybe because now you're offering them something else that they want to consume. They don't care if you're a good rapper. They think somebody wrote your shit. That's a nigga for you.
A woman that has hot rhymes is a double threat because let's give it up. If a female is attractive, she's gonna have the room just open on her off top when she comes in. So then when she has rhyming on top of that. Like just because you're a female who's rapping does not mean you're one of the hot females who's rapping, and that's why I say there's a few very not even sexual but just cute as fuck and they rap
MC Light.
like MC Light. Shit, Rhapsody's cute. Like I mean, there's a lot and like not putting it out there, and you know those are the real threats because. Like a woman's beauty, you can't take it away. Like the queen on the chessboard is the most powerful part, the piece. Like a woman who's in tune with her intellectual and her sexiness, she's a beast. She's an animal. She'll go a lot further than a dude rapper. You know what I'm saying? And
that's right.
Off top. And then like that's why a lot of these dudes have females on their songs as hooks and like the background because Lord forbid if they get a little shine, the female be so much doper than half these dudes rapping. The female on the hook is way better than the dudes rapping those whack ass 16s.
And Jane the Message said somebody asked her if she had a ghostwriter. That's crazy. And Jane the Message is definitely not a woman who sexualizes herself in her music, but that's wild. Somebody asked.
Hey, but you know what though? We saying ghostwriter like it's a bad thing too. A lot of niggas. This is 2023, bro. Jay-Z had a ghostwriter. I mean, Dr. Dre. No, Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre. Yeah, Dre. I mean, cats.
But I don't even think. Yeah,
Jay. I mean, I'm just saying, like, some of these, like, okay, like what I'm saying is this:
because the competition is too fierce.
This hip hop game is 2023 on some Blade Runner shit. Like we kind of got to get over some of these 80s, 90s. I love Wu-Tang Clan, but you know. We're on some. It's a new day.
It is a new day, and it hurts my soul. It hurts my soul.
It does. It hurts my soul too, but I love it too, though.
I remember
playing about. I mean, honestly, the problem. We talk about misogyny in hip hop. The problem isn't that the woman is a triple threat. The problem is that. Females can't just magically disarm ourselves. Women can't just disarm themselves of femininity for the sake of being respected in all the same ways that a male MC writ large, period, point blank is respected. Just you know, there are women. If you saw what Nicki Minaj looked like,
she looked regular.
15, 20 years ago, she was way butch. She was way. And like, you know,
she's a nigga.
That she right, and you're always going to have this weaponization of the art form. That's where we started. We started in competitiveness and competition. But I think that in the end, the misogyny is the part where, oh yeah, cool, yeah, you got a nice flow. You can really spit. That's cool. Listen, let me put you in this mini dress.
Yeah, that's
that's why I say it's bad because I think more hip hop people gotta really represent and create space for women to be however they want and not have to sexualize themselves to be big, right? Like imagine an MC Light of this generation talking about some Kendrick shit just going off.
This is where we're actually having the conversation about the misogyny versus what's in the records. I mean, that's part of the story, but that's anthropology. We're not talking, people who are caught up there, frankly, probably don't listen to enough hip hop today. That's the truth of it. If you still talk about, and I don't mind going there. We could talk about the 80s, 90s all day, but if you're still stuck on what happened back then, or it's because you can't make sense of what's happening now. And it's confusing. It's actually pretty confusing. Really look at like, wow, so is it cool with the city girls that come out and then Cardi B is dissing Nicki Minaj and like, is that okay? Like, there are no rules There's no rules.
Amen. I said it, bro. Bro, once we understand in hip hop that we're trying to hold it accountable with no rules.
Yep.
No, that's facts.
And then when somebody starts putting, hey, hip hop rule number such and such, niggas be like, what? Like, the only rule we got is industry rule number 4080. That's it. That's the only rule we got in the game. That's the only game. Everything else is open game, bro. Everything else. So I'm sorry.
Who discovered Megan Thee Stallion? By the way, since we're talking about rule number, who discovered Megan Thee Stallion?
Yeah, that's a good question. Who did discover Megan Thee Stallion?
Some very smart person.
No, Nia knows the word.
Q-Tip?
Wow.
Q-Tip had Megan in her way before she got on, and he tried to shop her around. He's got this in an interview recently. He tried to get her. He was like, "Yo, she's nice. She's nice. Like she got clothes.
Yeah, she does got bars.
She is a good rapper.
And they passed on her.
So
You know,
so what you're saying is
because of her image. Because of her image.
no, yeah. Look at how it all interleaves. It's not that
Nicki
you can
Minaj is a great example.
hip hop is not the kind of art form you can just take a single thought. Well, what people are saying, you got to look at the subtext. That's the whole reason why rap is rap, because you can't that if you need to get on the microphone and tell everybody what your politics are, that's up to you. But because if you choose to do that in a way that perhaps undermines social values, undermines social currencies, then you choosing to do that too. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are unconscious, right? That doesn't mean that you're communicating unconsciously. You might be using a lot of different ways to do so. So the content conversation is just enmeshed. It's just enmeshed. You can't separate one or the other. And you can't really separate what's conscious. Okay, are we consciously avoiding misogyny in a record? Okay, versus I might be unconsciously representing the power of true femininity in any number of ways outside of having to preach to people. Okay, you know, because sometimes some hip hop folks are looking for Bibles. They're looking for something they can follow every day. And if you let them, a lot of these cats, if they could keep Jay-Z in the damn CD changer for the next 20 years, that's what they would do.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what they would do. You know.
Real quick, I just wanted to say, I remember what I was going to say to speak on earlier. Yes, hip hop and music in general being put on a political pedestal, in my opinion, is bullshit. Like, that is crazy to me. But like the fact that they can come in, the reason why we have I said it before, the reason why we have the ESRB and parental guidelines is because of hypersexuality in music. And that's some crazy shit. I mean, shit, Gene Simmons and Kiss, they quit because he said he went to a concert and some random ass kid came up to him and was like, "Hey, I'm part of the Kiss Army." And he was like, "I'm out." Immediately, like that same day, he was like, "This is it, I quit." It was like, why? It was like, because I don't want kids. I didn't get in this for kids to follow this. I got in this so that women would follow me, not children. I don't need that shit. Yeah. But see, we don't have that same type of responsibility in the Black community. If somebody says something to artists like, "Hey, you did this in the thing," they like, "Oh, I don't care," because like Age said, there's no rules in hip hop, bro. Like, hip hop started out, again, for people who don't know, as rap battles on the corner. Okay, people plugging in boombox to the street lights, and they battled each other, and people drove by and they saw that and they was like, "Oh shit, that's dope." Where it comes from, DJ battling, which came from disco battling. All right, you see where this is going? It's all a cycle. It's all a cycle. Okay, and now
it's all weaponization. If it wasn't useful,
exactly.
you wouldn't. If Nicki Minaj was in the hip hop diet, you wouldn't see her. If there wasn't a strain of the femininity that she represents that was actually fundamentally powerful, you wouldn't see her.
Mm-hmm. And you know, she's the nigga of the moment. You know, they'll find a new nigga next year.
That's right.
That's right.
I mean, it is what it is.
Already.
Hey, and then, you know, again, to play devil's advocate, let's also remember that things like the Diary of a Video Vixen exist. Okay, like there is two sides. Again, there's two sides to every story. You feel me?
Yes,
there
sir.
are women out there who genuinely want that life. who genuinely see that and say, wow, I aspire to be that. Now, are we going to knock them for that? Are we going to knock them for feeling empowered for wanting to be that? Because I'm not.
No,
yeah, me neither. And I think it's funny that you say that because
options.
Like,
I want to see options. I want to see variety. I really want to see 100 Nicki clones, and then that's the only thing that's sold, and that's the only thing people talk about.
Yes. That's why I say it's bad, because everybody has to be like Nicki for them to get mainstream fame.
That's changing.
It is and it's not.
You got if me and Lon C did the whole fucking FemC evolutionary part of the fucking curriculum that we're working on. You got way more different types, and I think it also has to do with the industry changing because of technology changing. Hella more people can independently do what they're doing, and because of that, hella more different types. There's not just one trope. The whole mainstream shit, some people don't even watch mainstream television anymore because of all the different type of shit you can look at with all the different apps and shit. So people who are growing up right now, they're seeing hella more different types of shit than you would see before, when you had to rely on BET and MTV.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just saying that for the basis of this conversation. We can't look at misogyny exclusively as a Nicki Minaj, Cardi B thing. There's other forms of misogyny that happen in hip hop, but there are lots of different women. Sorry, Age, I'm gonna let you know.
No, it's cool. It's cool. But
misogyny is gatekeeping. It's gatekeeping in hip hop.
Oh, go ahead, Age.
I mean, another topic we were trying to do on Soup that we didn't. That don't check your hip hop. Okay, don't ask hip hop what has it done for you, but what have you done for your hip hop? Like, we are in a situation where we could sit here, we could gripe at all these artists above us, but like, the great Mrs. mentioned, there's so many dope artists that are females that don't get attention, that need attention, and that all need to. And Naj, if you don't mind, if I could give the listeners a shout out of the all women show in Oakland this Saturday. This Saturday, Little MC, yes, Little MC, Daylight, Kayla Love. They're gonna be at the Starline Social Club Saturday night. They're my peoples. I'm not even going to the Soup. I'm trying to go to that show.
Get your tickets.
Yeah. And I'm thinking you can buy your tickets at the door. And but we need to support. We need to support each other, man. Some of these artists on top are just crazy whack, and we just need to support other cats.
I agree. And when I say that it's lacking, I don't mean overall in hip hop overall. I just mean in the mainstream, the stuff that's being promoted. And it's not like I expect them to change what they're promoting, but also I'm calling them out for not opening doors for other things to exist, right? Because you have like people who are talking all about drugs. You got the YGs, but you also got Kendricks. You also got J. Cole's. You got the Drakes. You got the Kanye's. But there's not enough women who get to that level of fame in hip hop, and to me, it's because the industry doesn't push them and doesn't promote them. It's not because they're not good. It's not because the music isn't good or the music wouldn't sell, but it's because people in the industry make decisions not to put money behind these kind of artists. People like Rhapsody, people like Jean Grey. Rhapsody has so many hits. People even like Tierra Whack. Tierra Whack, her album was one of the most unique hip hop albums of all time. Every song is a banger. I just let my son hear it. He's like, "Why they so short, Daddy?" Like,
yo,
to every single song.
A female rapper right now, as much, I don't want to be shot for this one, but I may get shot. A female rapper in the game right now isn't needed. Like, we need a female rapper. We need a female record label owner.
Yeah.
We need a Suge Knight. We need a female that runs the label, so she stretches her artists to be pushed to, like, the female rapper is cool, but we need a female rapper who a owner of a label to push the artist.
I agree with that.
How about female producers? Can you name one?
Really.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Not enough, and you know that they're making beats on the low. Missy Elliott, Missy.
That's it. That's like it. That's it. Like that's it.
Okay, but hold up. Think about it.
Oh.
Do you think that females actually aspire to be producers?
Yes.
Not as the game is played. Not as the game is played right now. Think about it.
Neil's a producer.
No.
Lil MC is a producer too. Lil MC.
It's not that they don't aspire to be producers. It's that when you get into the room with a bunch of dudes who have been mainlining whatever kind of nonsense they've been listening to before they got to the studio, you got to sit there with that nonsense with them and still be able to do your work. And that's actually not easy to do. That's like walking.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, and see,
you always got to overcome some shit before you get to do the shit.
And I'm sorry that
that's the misogyny in hip hop. It's like you got good gatekeepers, but it's a whole lot of bad gatekeepers.
Man, like, there's a lot of niggas
to produce, and they're like, well, I'm trying to produce some babies, cuz what's up?
Yo.
Hey, thanks though. Thanks.
Now, I was stepping one step under that, like. There's a lot of dudes in the rap game, but a lot of these dudes are whack as shit.
Yeah, they are.
But they're in the way, like, and I'm sorry, but they're in the way of dudes too. Yeah. So they're just in the way, but it's a lot of whack motherfuckers in the way, bro. I'm sorry.
It is definitely a lot of B.I.A. getting a lot of love. That's good. And Jane message says that she worries that women just burn out with all of the extra stuff that they have to deal with.
Yeah, that's the game, though.
See that. I can definitely see that.
Oh, come on, Money. Okay.
That's Gene, that's Lauren.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Money. The game ain't easy, bro. The game is not. The game is meant for you to burn out before you get on.
Gotta pay the cost to be the boss.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, look. Let's
don't get in the water with the sharks. Worry about the sharks.
Yeah, let's put something on hip hop. Ladies and gentlemen, hip hop is an adult form of art. Like, niggas and bitches need to grow up and get with the program. Like, we can't get caught up in the words because it's just words in the music. Mm-hmm. They were words back in the 80s. They're going to be ugly words now. They're going to be ugly words 30 years from now.
Well, I want to be honest. I wish it were just the words that were the problem. I'm always really consumed with the message. So if I hear somebody on record talk about how they don't they see a nigga in a dress and they'll murder him, or if they see a tranny or something and they'll just murder that person, there's something that happens there, right? There's something that happens there, and it's not. Sometimes I'll listen to stuff and I'm like, okay, so that's what you're on. All right, that's your message. Now the problem is that I got messages too, and the kind of stuff I listen to, you don't want to be out in the street with me thinking I'm some dude in a dress. You damn sure don't want to make that.
I fully understand that. You don't
want no, but I'm just saying the message gets people confused, so they start walking around really believing this
Once
stuff.
Again, I just want to put it out there. Reiterate, what have you done for hip hop? Like, in that same vein, I just recorded my home girl, T for Love, a tranny who spits great. Her album is dope, and her name is T for Love, TIFALOVE, and I recorded her because she's raw. It doesn't matter. And what I'm saying is that message is so right and real. You're absolutely right. But excuse the game for being congested by a bunch of idiots that are in the way.
I don't worry about the
game. And it sucks.
I'm not worried about the game. I'm worried about people who walk around. I'm worried about our community. I'm worried about people who walk around. And I've been over in the bottoms for 20 years. Is anybody around the bottoms that know Nia? That's on them. Okay, but I've been around there for years and years, and it's only when I go to other places, like I was in Louisiana a few years ago, and that's one of those places where it's like the phobia is so strong. You can tell the difference in the kind of hip hop and the messages people, because the phobia is so strong You'll be just a regular old ass hip hop. I'm walking around looking cute at the whole 9 yards, and I'm still confronted with cats who are like, oh yeah, so you want to, like people like, what are you doing in the neighborhood? Philly, what are you doing in the neighborhood? What you want over here? What are you gonna do? And it's like they get confused, thinking you must believe, and this is part of the drama when you're talking about misogyny in the words and the messages, because we could also make this mistake with women. I don't know a lot of women who ain't been called a bitch at least once, and frankly, you show up talking the same way you do. You heard somebody in a rap record talking. In the end, you got yourself a bitch. That's what you asked for. And when I walk through the streets and I get that kind of static from people, again, the type of hip hop, the kind of messages they absorb, I go, oh, you asking for a nigga then? Mm. And that's not a problem.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
No problem. And that's you listening to the wrong shit. You should have listened to, whoever.
More little brother.
So you could get into the message.
You should listen to old Kanye, not new Kanye.
That's
yeah. I was just about to say that. I was about to say you gotta listen to old Kanye, man.
Listen to some brand new being.
I feel you. So I got one last question. It's on the tip that age was going on. Then we're gonna wrap the show up. But I also want to reiterate something I said on Age Show that you brought up earlier. And first of all, I do think that the game should change, and I think that what rappers rap about should be expanded. And I think for me, it's an issue that there's only one side of the story. Representation is important, and all sides of the story need to be represented equally, in my opinion, right? And also, I respect the new Kanye, but not the old new Kanye.
Hey.
But also, as parents, and just generally as people, because I feel like we all are parents in a different way. We're all helping these kids to come up and be raised up. We're the ones who really have to look out for the people that we know and to get them on the right path, right? Like I'm a teacher, and if I see kids who listen to this rap and they really take it to heart, you know what I'm saying? I'm the one who has the ability to take them aside and talk to them about it and to educate them on the game and on how to actually play the game for real, and not just what these rappers are saying, because these rappers are gonna tell them bullshit. These rappers gonna say whatever they need to say to sell records. Whatever the label says, hey, say this, bruh. Look, they gonna say it and they gonna get their money and they gonna be gone. But what's not gonna be gone is this kid that I'm dealing with every day, right? I'm gonna be there more than this hip hop record's gonna be there for them in their life. They're gonna remember what I said before they remember these lyrics, and that's just on me. But the question I want to ask.
This is the final.
This is the last question. What can we do as individuals to create space for women in hip hop?
Oh man. You know what? Honestly, just giving them more of a space to be heard. Like Spotify is great, man. If y'all ain't on, if you are Spotify and what's up, SoundCloud, if you are an aspiring artist, man, hop on SoundCloud, bro. Like, man, but what could that? I mean, that's pretty much it. Give them the time, give them the space, listen to them, man. Like, you feel me? If you hear some, oh man, this new up and coming artist is on tip, man, go comment on their post. That's what gets the algorithms to move their content. But real quick, I just wanted to speak on what Amani had said earlier about attention spans and how we don't consume mainstream media anymore due to so much of it being able to be consumed through different media platforms. Because it reminded me of something that one of these new little SoundCloud rappers said. I think was the one that's named after the pills, Little Xan. He said he doesn't listen to Tupac because he finds it boring.
Oh my god, right? Bro! I was like, somebody slap the hip hop out you.
But that okay. Right there, though, right, is the problem. It's the plans. Okay, we got these kids who think they know hip hop. This is why, again, this is another reason, like they said, this is why female MCs and producers it's so hard for them to make it. You got all these dudes that don't know shit that are in here with all these females that are behind them that do, and they get no hurt. They don't get hurt. And the ones that do get hurt are those plants like Minaj and Cardi B. And I don't give a fuck what nobody say. You can say whatever you want at me all day, but they are not rappers. They are industry plants. Okay, they are created by some image team that brought them together and was like, you know what? Y'all can got a little bit of flow, and that's all you need. You want us to actually have real musical talent? No. Y'all need to play no instruments, none of that shit. Y'all know Eazy-E can play the piano.
You know what? I did hear about that. I did hear about that actually.
There you go. So like, don't think I just talk shit to be talking shit.
I just thought he was cruising down the street in his 6'4". No. I knew he had a car. No.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and look, NWA wouldn't be shit without Eazy-E.
No.
The question is,
women hip hop.
Or that other white boy on the
beat
that they don't talk about.
I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna leave it off on. Think of how you keep the gate that you keep, because that's where you have some say over what the fuck is going on. I kind of fuck with you, age, and how you. It sounds sometimes like you're like, fuck that conversation, but really, this part of this conversation, like elevating it or taking it up, what you said about you helping the person that you know record the shit, like making that space and people showing up that way that they are, which is representing something that you don't get a lot, it makes a big fucking difference. I think about Toby Nwigwe coming up, being hella just blowing up, and then the fucking Fi song, which I like, when he's like, if you book me for a show and my wife and my babies can't come, I'm leaving. And then his wife gets on there pregnant, talking about, nigga, I was with him when he was broke on Causeway. And I ain't Kim, so he can't never go Kanye. Like, I love that shit. And now we can show something different when we show music videos to the kids in the morning. The kid in the morning. Like, he gonna have that in his music repertoire. He's gonna be influenced by that. So, just showing up how you are and who you are, and then also supporting the people who are willing to do that, who are willing to take the smoke and sit with the nonsense and stay until they get their chance to get up on the stage, even though the stage was full of bullshit all up until it was your turn. You know what I mean? Like, that's important, and that's what you should make space for, and women obviously are gonna be a part of that. Yeah.
It's dope.
I'm definitely feeling that. Just, you know, when some people talk about how they're gatekeepers, or how they, you know, they're the ones who kind of make the connections. And I think that there's, you know, I talk about capitalism and hip hop because there's a part of that relationship that we've naturally ingested with hip hop that we really don't need. You know, instead of being the gatekeeper, you can just be the bottom line. You can be the person who's responsible for creating the features, for making the music, for just, you know, that space is just exactly what it is, 3-dimensional real space. And when you're around women in real spaces, and when you're really creating space on the track, and when you're really creating space on the credits, that your bottom line is that whoever came to you with that spirit, whoever came to you with the energy, I heard it, I can speak to it, I've seen it, I can speak to it, it's in me, I'm gonna speak to it, create the space for them, because it's hard to do. And especially just as a trans woman who can spit, going over to ciphers, going to ciphers in Berkeley and Oakland back in the day, man, that is a really hard thing to do. It's hard to sit in a circle of dudes who are rapping and spitting and talking all this shit, and then as soon as you start going in, they're starting out, who's the weirdo? Who's this person? Who's this person? And it's like, in the end, that doesn't matter to me, you know, but it's not like something I necessarily am in a rush to return back to, you know? And that's part of the vibe, is more than putting people on, or at least that's the beginning, but always making hip hop something that people can return to. And I think that's kind of where the energy around hip hop music, like the industry and what we hear in the mainstream, is hard on people, because they realize over time, I can't keep going back to this. I kind of can't, there's got to be something new or something else. And I think that's all legitimate. But I would just say that vibe, that feeling of creating the hip hop and the art that makes everybody want to come back to it and return to it is really, we're not always doing that. Sometimes we're creating hip hop, rap music that really pushes people away.
Facts.
I think that women are still such a powerful force in the world today, and skip the industry, skip all that, like the game, like do your thing, push forward. And I do believe that if women united and did an all-woman podcast on some hip-hop shit, I believe that would flourish. I believe that more women being out there, like producing and like putting their shit out there, like, in some dudes in the game that's not really big, but like put females forces up front and put them whack ass niggas you record, like, don't record them that day, like
don't
record them. But then, even on that same note, like, I'll be real, I recorded a project with a female. She was really cute, and like when it was finished, like 10 songs, I passed it through the hood. My boys were more impressed that it was done than if it was dope or not. They were just like, you finished it? I'm like, yeah, because I didn't try to go there. And it was like, don't push up on your artists. Don't like all them thirsty Hennessy drinking ass niggas, bro. When she comes to the studio, don't invite them. Like, really make it safe for her to. And then on the same note, Nas, you and your queen, I just want to say, Black Love. I just see you guys doing your thing, man. That's just dope, man. How y'all be doing? Aw. That's just dope, man. But as we talk about black women and in the game, like I see her doing her thing, and I think that's dope that y'all shine together. For real.
Baby, they can see
I see that they see it. You know how we on Zoom/streaming? Can y'all Zoom chat your socials? Then we'll copy and paste it, and they'll see it, and then we'll put it in the chat on Zoom.
Yes, or you can tell me your socials and I can.
Or you could do that too, but niggas need to copy and paste it to save it.
Y'all already know what it is. Noir King R6 on Twitter, man. Don't at me though, because you feel me, I don't do that. But yeah, that's where I be at on Twitter. Y'all ain't finding me on Facebook and Instagram, man. What is my Instagram? Yoko Fox R6. Y'all can check me out. But I'm gonna be real though, my shit is locked. So if I don't know you, I ain't answering. This is how it is. Too many bots, man. Too many bots. They be trying to sell me ball shavers and shit. Like, yo, you ever trim
Have
down
you ever
there?
shaved your
I was
balls?
gonna say, bro, you ain't bought them ball shavers, bro?
Have you ever trimmed down?
Them shits be
thugs?
smooth as eggs.
Are you manscaping correctly? Are you manscaping?
But I heard the new ones got
That's
the
hella
flashlight.
funny.
Like, wow, like, bruh, I don't need that. I don't need that.
I feel it.
Is your balls hair out of control?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Bro,
Do you really get ads like that? That's something you all go through?
Do you have an afro for balls?
We got all kind of things, man.
All type of shit, bro. It's got to
Yes.
save it for all podcasts. Save that stupidity for all podcasts.
Also, I just
Ooh,
wanted to shout out to Black Men Meet PSA. Also, reminder: consent is very important, and it is important to always talk to your sexual partners about what they like and they don't like, so that you do not end up in a situation that will come back to bite you in the butt. Okay?
In the hairy balls.
Yes.
That's what
As
even
Dave
worse.
Chappelle, hey man, as Dave Chappelle said, sometimes you just gotta fill out the love contract, all right? Because you gotta let them know that in 1 minute it's okay. Okay, you can't tell nobody that that's all it was though. So love contracts, you feel me?
Love contracts. Hey guys, excuse me, guys. I really don't mean to be abrupt and kind of gotta get up and bounce, but I kind of gotta get up and bounce.
It's that time. So
Agezilla socials.
Yeah, socials, and then and then we can.
Yes.
wrap it up.
Adrian H got on Facebook. Adrian H got on Instagram. I always love the conversation with you guys. You guys are some positive, great people. Naj, one more thing. What's up? When you gonna let me toss you some beats and let me record you, bro? I'm about to be in your inbox. Check
Yo,
for me.
Let's
Check for me.
Yes, I'm checking for you, bro.
I'm checking. Hit your inbox. I'm hitting your inbox tomorrow, bro. Seriously.
We there.
All right, bro. All right, this bill. Ladies and gentlemen, have a nice evening. It was great seeing you guys, man.
Thank you.
Glad you made the age. Peace. Be safe.
Yeah, man. Peace.
Okay. Need